What is up, everybody? This is Lyle with No Hippie Trucking and Transportation Wannabe, and I had a couple good questions on one of the videos that I just posted in regards to TNT training and some of the changes that I went through getting into TNT training. Now, I didn't do my PSD training over the road, so I really can't tell you what the difference is between that and going to TNT training, other than you're more or less going to be running solo into your PSD training. So it does kind of amp up a little bit when you do get into the TNT training. But one of the questions was about sleep hours and how do you adjust to that. In reality, there's really no adjusting to that. I've heard some people say their trainers put them on days or their trainers put them on nights. If you're truly running how the load dictates, it's impossible to have one person running days and one person running nights, because the schedule could get flip-flopped for a number of different reasons. And if you're running 10 and a half hours on your shift and your trainer's running 10 and a half hours on their shift, you're going to lose a few hours in that mix either way. So, or it's going to kind of change your schedule a little bit. So, really, how did I adapt to it? I've always been able to just sleep at the drop of a dime, so there really wasn't any adapting that was needed from that. My suggestion is, anytime you have sleep, take that. So if you pull up to a shipper, you don't know if it's going to take 30 minutes to unload or 6 hours to unload. As soon as that truck hits the dock, I get my ass in the sleeper and try to take a nap. So that's one thing that I try to do. The next question that he had was, how about being able to go to the bathroom when you want? Listen, that might be the hardest of all these changes. Anybody that knows me knows, up until recently, I hated using public restrooms. As a matter of fact, I was a mortgage banker in my previous world, and typically I'd just knock it out in the morning and not have to worry about at least that part of going to the bathroom. But if for some reason I ended up having to, I didn't even feel comfortable doing, let's just keep it, rugged. I didn't feel comfortable taking a shit at work. So there were times I would drive home to knock that out if that happened to be the case. Other times I might drive to a hotel that I knew had secluded or, super clean bathrooms. But to me, that is probably the hardest thing to adapt to. As far as taking a piss, if you happen to be a guy, it makes it a whole lot easier. I'm not going to get too much into that, but it just does make it a little bit easier. It's harder to, or it's a lot easier to, handle your business, if you have to on that. One thing I will say, though, if your trainer allows you to get fuel, things like that, if you use your own fuel card, when you fuel, you're going to get shower credits. Now, a lot of times, you're going to end up with more shower credits than you can actually use. So what I will do is I'll go into the truck stop, ask them if they have a shower available. If they do, and it's immediately available, I'll use a shower credit just to go in there and knock that out. So, just something I do. I'm not a huge fan of. As a matter of fact, I struggle with that, daily. Let's see. How about, changes in eating habits. This is something that is going to be specific to me being with my TNT trainer right now. Is I don't have 100% control over things. So first of all, I can't store exactly what I want to eat. I can't stop everywhere that, places that I want to eat. So it does kind of change things up a little bit. When I get my own truck, then I'll be able to have exactly what I want, on hand. And it just would make it a little bit easier. So as far as changing eating habits, a lot of that's going to depend on who your trainer is. I know some trainers go to Walmart all the time, and you have the ability to do all that. The refrigerator that we have in this truck, well, first of all, it broke down probably a couple weeks ago, but even then it was a small refrigerator, and just don't have a lot of space to put things. So a lot of times that means that I'm eating out at truck stops and things like that, which isn't the best situation, but not too concerned about that, because when I do get my own truck, I will be able to get back into eating a little bit more how I'd like to. Let's see, what's the other question that came up? Okay, how do I think the pay will be as a lease driver compared to what I'm making now? I'm not really comparing it to how much I'm making now, or the ability. Let's put it this way. If I tried to compare how much I could make as a mortgage banker to being a truck driver, it would not be fair. First of all, as much as you hear anybody bragging, whether they're owner operators, company drivers, lease drivers, whatever, no matter how much you hear anybody talk about how much money they're making, if you really count how much money truck drivers make an hour, I would say that if you worked, because I don't count okay, I'm driving 10 hours, I'm counting that whole, if I'm doing something I don't want to do, I'm counting all those hours. So to me, if I just was out driving for 42 days, I'm going to count all 42 days and all of them hours as work hours, because really, how am I not going to call me being in a truck, even though I'm not driving, not work hours? So if I did that same schedule, and I think I mentioned this in another video, if I worked that hard being a mortgage banker, you'd make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. I mean, you can't really compare the two. The stress that comes along with that is what's crippling in the mortgage business. So really can't compare it to that. Really, what I can compare it to is how much more do I think I would make as a lease driver as opposed to a company driver, and that would be zero. I don't think I'm gonna make any more as a lease driver or I don't think I'm gonna make any more as a lease driver than I would as a company driver. So I may even make less as a lease driver than a company driver. There are a few benefits, once you kind of dig down into the few different things from my perspective and how my tax situation is structured, it just makes more sense to have everything under a business and take advantage of all these tax write-offs along with the other ones that I have now, rather than going W-2 on this part of it and anyway. I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it over and over and over again. Taxes are the reason, or not taxes, but the flexibility is more why I plan on going lease than the money. So I know a lot of company drivers out there that are making more than lease drivers. So like I said, that's not the reason why. Somebody had asked if I planned on being a trainer. That's a hard question. It's hard to answer that question when I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now. Do I think that you need to have years and years of experience to be a trainer? No, I don't think that you need years and years of experience to be a trainer. But I'm just not sure that that's something that I would want to do. I do plan on training at least one person once my skill set is to that degree, just to pay it forward, if only to one person. And judging upon some of the comments I've seen about how people's experience was with their trainers, you know what? I may do it just to try to save somebody. So I'm not sure if I would do that more than once, but it may be something that I'll think about that. Right now, I'm just trying to learn what I'm doing, as opposed to try to teach somebody something that I really don't know 100% yet. Somebody had asked this question, asked me if it was a big mistake to go lease in the last quarter. Really, it's not. For the average person, I don't think it's really going to make that big of a difference. I mean, it could actually benefit you to go lease at the end of the year, because you may be able to take advantage of some tax benefits that would come with starting that business at the end of that year. To me, it's just, you always hear these people say, "Oh, I'm ADD, I'm ADHD." At halftime when people are saying that, it just means they're a normal person. But when it comes to paperwork and liking to have things really kind of organized, that's how I am. So just having everything organized, starting at a point where at the beginning of a year, just makes a lot of sense to me, because the beginning of the year is always something that would trigger me to know that I need to start handling taxes rather than having it. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, I know you do, well, which is a myth. You should pay quarterly taxes. I will be paying quarterly taxes. That's not 100% necessary. There may be a small penalty if you don't, but I still don't know what I'm going to do as far as taxes go, and I'm rambling like a mother. Anyway, for those of you guys that are leasing, I do have a question that might possibly be watching this, is that I would try not to have prime all up in every aspect of my life. I know that abacus is, let's just call that even though it's not prime, it's basically associated with prime. Let me know what you guys think about that tax service if you happen to be leasing. Those were the few questions that I did have. I will be doing, somebody had asked a question about, because I'd mentioned that me and my trainer had got into it 2 times. I'm going to do a separate video on the 2 times we got into it and why we got into it. Other than that, it's my 3rd day. I was starting my 4th day home. Was able to take that hair down a bit. I'm going to run out to the store. Still haven't started those cooking videos that I was trying to start. But I am going to try to get one of those knocked out today. Anyway, I do want to thank you guys for stopping by. No Hippie Trucking and Transportation Wannabe. Comment, subscribe. I'm out.